Hello everybody and welcome to a new playthrough of Chrono Clock, just released on the 28th, and it looked very interesting, so I thought, you know what, seems like it would be a cool game to play for the channel, so let's get right into it, shall we? July, summertime. On that day, standing on the rooftop, the one place in all the school reaching closest to the sky, I knew that I would soon experience my first broken heart. You don't need a reason to fall in love, right? That's what you said on me the day we first met. I smiled, trying to quell the anxiety so readily apparent on the face of my underclassman, Miu Suzuki. Yep, totally did. You were completely serious about it too. He was still anxious as ever, but given her retort, I could definitely tell that she had grown a little more courageous. That's good. Well, I definitely remember it. I quietly watched Miu as she drooped her shoulders in dejection. Aw, poor girl. Now that's one thing I will never forget. In a very short time, this girl was going to retry confessing her feelings to someone she loved. And if all were to go smoothly. I had helped her all along the way, but somehow I still couldn't get excited at the prospect of her success. I glanced up at the sky, then I returned my gaze to the iron door leading up from the school building. At that moment, a thought had crossed my mind. Perhaps I don't want that door to ever open. You don't need a reason to fall in love. I know what you meant by that now, but I actually do have a reason. Miu asked me, her face one of complete seriousness. She looked too serious, in fact. I wondered if she ever came to realize my feelings for her, after all the time we spent together. I wondered if she ever realized what feelings had blossomed with her in her own heart. At that exact moment, the door opened. The person we were waiting for, Shuji Ishida, finally showed up. He immediately furrowed his brow at the heat and humidity. Looking at us, he gently called out to Miu first, not calling out to me. What is with Japan and, like, the whole rooftop confession thing? I never quite understood that. I quietly watched them talk. Best not to interfere in these kind of situations. A whole week. Everything happened in just 1 week, huh? No, never mind that now. I don't need to be here anymore. I shouldn't be here anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. At that moment, Miu seemed to pick up on what I was thinking, so she turned back to Shuji for a moment. Shuji stepped back so that Miu could talk to me. What's wrong, little buddy? Oh, don't mention it. Always happy to be there for someone in need. Miu respectively bowed to me. I didn't do anything, really? Her voice trailed off in mid-sentence. It wasn't that she was stuttering or hesitating, she simply looked at me with innocence in her eyes, waiting for my answer to an unspoken question. I took her outstretched hand in mine. Now then. I should apologize for the interruption here, but this is actually the finale to a long sequence of events which occurred in the first week of summer. The observant reader can probably already guess at what's happening, but I feel like I should give a simple explanation. I had been helping my underclassman Miyu Suzuki work up the courage to confess her feelings to my best friend Shuji Ishida, and this was her second attempt at doing so. Over the course of 1 week, I helped counsel her to overcome her social anxiety, so she wouldn't blow her second chance at it. As a result, I found myself drawn in by Miyu's honest, good-natured disposition, and Miyu also became more conscious of me as someone of the opposite gender. With the benefit of hindsight, I can only think about how cliched and problematic a situation this was. But let's get serious here. This encounter on the roof is the absolute moment of truth. At the 11th hour, do I take Miyu's hand? Or do I encourage her to do this? The world diverges at that point. That much is given. On that note, there's one other detail you should know. I was able to rewind time by 5 minutes, just as easily as snapping my fingers. But no matter how many times I turned back the clock, I could never undo a real decision I made. You know, the real problem with time travel is you can never go back in time far enough to change the workings of your own heart. Not like it matters, I guess. I was trying to be serious for a second there, but I'm basically just a happy-go-lucky sort of guy. I've taken quite a bit of flack from others because I never really take anything seriously. This story isn't one with any overtly bleak, serious endings to speak of either, so don't worry about your own choices too much. But first of all, I'll have to give you more information to spur on your choices. Allow me to turn back time by a week, so that you may have a better idea of what kind of people Miyu, Shinji, and myself are. 1 week ago, the day it all started. I remember it like it was yesterday. The day Miyu fell from this very rooftop. It was lunchtime in the classroom. I was reading a book since I already finished it. Then Tsuji came over and started talking to me, as he is wont to do on these up times. Oh, I'm reading Adventures of Tom Sawyer. My name is Rei Sawatari, though my nickname is Sansui. Not really sure why. It's an alternate reading of the kanji my name, I guess. I held up the book for Shuji to see. The Door into Summer. I don't need pictures to incite my imagination, alright? I don't want to hear that from the guy who's always engrossed in light novels. You're right, that was uncouth of me. Right back at you, buddy. By the way... Oh! The girl next to me suddenly screamed. I heard the sound of plastic hitting the ground before I could turn around in time to see what was happening. A female classmate of mine, Makoto Joinochi, looked at the lunchbox of hers, which had clattered to the floor, and sighed in exasperation. Oh, well, I couldn't have done anything. Makoto apologizes, her eyes welling up with tears. Aww. Then she crouched down and tried to slip a piece of loose-leaf paper under the overturned lunchbox, seemingly trying as hard as she could to pick it all up without making a mess. I stood idly by, watching her. Girls never pack much in their lunchboxes, do they? No, that's because they're always giving all their food to the guy they like on the rooftops, right? That's not the only thing I'm paying attention to. Damn right I am. Who do you think I am? I'm not like that. The pretty bow in her hair, I'll have you know. I can't see her panties from this angle, but I'm happy just to see her skirt flapping against her legs. Hopefully she hadn't overheard our stupid bantering. I mean, she was already pretty distraught. The air conditioning was running, but I could tell that the smell would linger in the air. Besides, I was sure she didn't want to take that dirty lunchbox home either. Yeah, that's a real shame, isn't it? Who do you take me for? Someone who helps people? She seemed surprised to hear me say that. There's something I needed to do anyway, so it's not a big deal. I stood up, took out my pocket watch, and changed the time. Man, the daylight savings time. I never remember to change the clocks. It's 12:46. I'd been goofing around a bit, so now there were only 3 minutes left. No, more like 2. Verifying my time limit, I walked over to Makoto. Makoto, normally we don't even greet each other in the hallway, so of course she would be a little confused. I'm not big on my family name, to be honest. Just call me my first name, which is, something. Rei, that was it. That's right. Regarding what I was about to do, I knew full well it wouldn't cause any problems for me, but I could still feel my cheeks burning. This probably isn't the best time, but would you go out with me if I told you that I liked you? A blank expression. The other students who heard me were also left speechless. That's right, a confession. There was an immediate uproar in the room. Oh my god! Look at him, he confessed! Wow, he's so straightforward. What the hell? Even people in the hallway were looking in to see what the big fuss was about. Oh my god, a man confessed to a woman! Stop the presses! I know this is really sudden. From your reaction, I suppose it's not completely out of the question? She laughed awkwardly as her cheeks blushed rosy red. But... Damn! Just tell me no, I know what it means. I can read between the lines. No worries, I don't mind if you can't give me an answer right now. I checked the time on my pocket watch again. 12:48. Now it's about time. Well, anyway, farewell. Be careful with your lunchbox from now on, though I guess there isn't much point in lecturing you about it now. I ignored her questions, smiled, and waved my hand. Bye-bye. Then I took the pocket watch in my hand and hurled it to the ground. The world before me shattered. Aw. I looked up as Suji was right next to me. So 5 minutes ago I was right about here then. Oh, I cut it pretty close there. Huh? Oh, nothing, just talking to myself. This time I gave Suji the book without telling him the title and stood up from my seat. Just wait there a sec, I won't be long. Should be about 10 seconds from now. I casually strode over by where Makoto was sitting. She was eating lunch with another girl, but she was more focused on the conversation than her food. Then, while she wasn't looking, she tried to reach for her black tea, and her elbow bumped against her lunchbox at the table's end. And that's what happened. The lunchbox nearly fell off the table, but I was right there to grab it before it fell. See, I'm a nice guy like that. Makoto stood up from her seat, clearly surprised at everything that had just transpired. That was close. I almost fell off there. Don't worry about it. Also, I'm not big on my family name. Just call me by my first name. That's right. Affection level up. Score. I returned to my seat, feeling content. I have made progress today. Behind me, the other girls in the room were excitedly gossiping about Makoto. Always a very popular girl, that one. Oh, I wouldn't say that. It just would have really sucked if she actually dropped her lunchbox. I know, fancy that, huh? I had a hunch. Shuji put my book back down on the desk. He seemed to still be processing what just happened. Yeah, it's like the girl up through time. Seems like it, though. I only just started it, so I'm not sure yet. Oh man, that would be so awesome. Well, it would really depend on how far back you could go. For instance, I mean, what would you do if you could only go back 5 minutes once an hour? Yeah, 5 minutes. No, it would be enough time to prevent a horrible mistake from happening. You could stop someone from dropping their lunchbox, though. You know, hypothetically. You could make as much easy money off lottery tickets as you wanted to. Oh, ooh, that would be a nice one. Well, no, actually not, really. And you could confess your feelings to a cute girl to see how she takes it. Even if she turns it down, you could just rewind time and start over like nothing ever happened. Well, if you know any other good ways to use that kind of power, I'd like to hear them. Alright. Shuji gave me an apathetic sort of laugh and then waddled back over to his seat. I guess he just wanted to know what book I was reading, since he never really sees me reading much of anything. He never really takes me seriously anyway. I'm a serious guy sometimes. It's not all fun and games. Just talking to myself again. Holding the book under my arms, I glanced at the notepad app on my smartphone. The notepad I'd opened was a list containing the names of all the cute girls in our school that I had taken a liking to. I wrote good chemistry next to Makoto Junichi's name on the list. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Satisfied with that, I then pulled out my pocket watch. This antique watch was passed down to me from my grandfather, and it's the source of this power that I have. My power to rewind time by 5 minutes. It's a strangely limited power, but with a little creativity on my part, there's plenty of opportunities to make good use of it. No matter what, I have to meet the girl of my dreams. I have the power to look ahead in my life and start over when I need to, all thanks to this lovely pocket watch. After all, I've already died once. That was a few days earlier, on a Sunday if I'm not mistaken. I live in a room in the annex of a traditionally styled house which does not have air conditioning. The heat wasn't bothering me so much as the humidity. That's the real killer. So I was considering going to cool off in a convenience store or bookstore for a bit, but then my father called for me. He told me he was cleaning out the garage when he found something my grandfather used to own, and he had decided to give it to me. It was, of course, the pocket watch. Considering that I already had a smartphone, it was pretty useless, but I decided to keep it because it looked interesting. Then I left for the store. Soon after I left the house, I noticed something odd about the watch. The time it showed was 5 minutes behind the time on my smartphone. I tried to adjust it, but it wouldn't work. For a moment, I wondered if it was broken after being in storage for so long. But the second hand was definitely still ticking away. What the heck? Do I have to take this thing apart to fix it? Getting it repaired professionally would be too much of a pain. I didn't have that kind of money. I figured I could try to see if I could do anything myself, so I just kept tinkering with it. Lesson learned. Just like you shouldn't cross the street while playing with your phone, you should not do it while playing with a pocket watch either. Lesson learned. Even if the crosswalk light is green, you should always look both ways before crossing the street. I looked up to verify that the pedestrian crossing the light was green, and it was. I had continued walking normally while I fiddled with the watch. Car horn. The squealing of brakes. Huh? They were both familiar sounds, but I had never heard them within such close proximity of each other. Looking up, I saw a truck hurtling toward me. I instantly froze. I'm dead. I'm 100% grade A cadaver material. I might be able to survive being hit by a car, but the size and speed of a truck are more than enough to end a person's life in an instant. I'm dead. I don't even have a girlfriend, so I'm gonna die a sorry-ass virgin. Those were my final moments, and yet that stupid worry was the last thing to go through my mind before my ass would. I had nowhere to run. Even if it was pointless. My hands flew up in front of me on instinct, in an attempt to shield myself. The pocket watch flew out of my hand and tumbled through the air. My eyes were tightly closed, but I could feel the pressure of the truck barreling toward me through my skin. This is the worst. Game over, man. Game over. I clenched my teeth, hoping the end wouldn't be too painful. A small metallic sound rang out. It must have been the pocket watch smashing against the truck, almost as if the universe were demonstrating how easily the truck could crush my body. And then... nothing happened. The deafening silence was broken only by the cries of the cicadas. I could sense that the sound of the truck had disappeared and the noise from the station with it as well. Huh? What happened? I fearfully opened my eyes. Somehow I was back in front of my house. It was once again a peaceful and damnably hot Sunday afternoon, and I was standing there alone in a stupor. Huh? What happened? I whipped my head back and forth to verify that I was still alive, but I didn't have any injuries to show. The only remnant from the ordeal was the cold sweat running down my spine. What happened to the truck? Why am I back in front of my house anyway? Then I saw that my fingers were clenched around something. It was the pocket watch that had slipped out of my hand. I also noticed that somehow the minute hand had wound back. The time it displayed was 5 minutes earlier than I had shown when I'd last looked at it. Was the heat playing tricks in my imagination? Who's there? Though I was just talking to myself, I was quite surprised to hear the voice responding. There didn't seem to be anyone around. But then I noticed something out of the corner of my eye. I turned my gaze upward. Oh, hello. Wow. That's nice. Anyway, against the backdrop of the clear blue summer sky, hovering in the air like a goldfish swimming in a bowl, there was a woman. She wore a revealing dress, whose hem gently fluttered in the breeze like a butterfly's wings. Are you a ghost? I have? What? The ghost's piercing gaze upon me suddenly showed a hint of confusion. Me? I'm Rei Sawatari. Her glance flitted to and fro. She seemed almost as confused as me. It's the 1st, ma'am. It's June, though it'll be July soon. 2015. Maybe you understand, but I'm lost.
あんな形で初めて時計を使ったのなら説明がいるな。
Please explain.
我が輩は時の神。その時計の精霊にして管理者クロノスがい。
Chronos. Crow what?
クロノス。
You're not a ghost.
どこをどう見たら我が輩が幽霊に見える。
Well, everything about you looks like a ghost or spirit or something. I mean, you gave me a big introduction as Crow, whatever, but I'm getting a real traditionalist kind of vibe from you. Still, that get-up's kind of hot. Can't complain about that. Good job.
お主、我が輩に喧嘩を売っておるのか。
Oh, I would never cause a quarrel. The ghost stared me down, but I was finally starting to calm down and think about what had happened. I still didn't quite understand. But even if I didn't know the exact reasons behind it all, I understood this much. My grandfather's pocket watch had some kind of special power. Breaking the watch caused me to go 5 minutes back in time. That's how I ended up in front of my house 5 minutes before I would have been hit by the truck. It was almost too easy an explanation to believe, but if it saved my life, then I really can't complain, now can I? Saved my life. I died. I felt goosebumps through the sweat on my skin. A sharp chill ran down my spine, akin to someone pouring a blue Hawaii on the rocks on the back of my shirt. If I hadn't been carrying this pocket watch with me, I would have undeniably have been killed back there. You know, you would think life always goes on peacefully for everyone, but really, people dying that way isn't exactly uncommon.
どうした？不細工な鳩が爆撃を食らったような顔をして。
You make very weird metaphors. Would a pigeon caught in a bombing raid even have anything resembling a face left? I pushed those intrusive thoughts away, for there were more important things which had to be said. Crow, can I only use the power to rewind time once?
いや、1時間に1回だが、何度でも使えるぞ。あと、我が輩の名前を黒と短縮する。
Well, I could call you Crone, but that would be unbecoming. And another thing, I can't go back any further than 5 minutes, right?
そうじゃ。
Why 5? Why not 6 minutes? So my grandfather used to own this watch, huh?
祖父か曽祖父なのかは知らないが、お主と名字が同じだから血縁のものだろうな。
Having verified everything with her, I glanced back at my house. It's a huge mansion. I don't want to come off as a bragart here, but my family's unusually ridiculously wealthy. This mansion was built in my grandfather's era, and it became a sort of headquarters for the Sawatari Corporation, which would go on to be one of the most powerful in the nation. But that's not the whole story. He actually has quite an ace up his sleeve. I was only a kid when he passed away, but I do remember that he was always brimming with confidence, almost as if he could do no wrong. And I get it now. Gramps, it wasn't just an ace up your sleeve. You were cheating, weren't you?
何が詐欺なのか知らんが、ここは沢渡の家のままか?
Kuro asked me, having seen the house as well. Yeah, it is.
あの男も金なんてつまらんものにこだわる俗物だったが、人間なんてそんなものか。
So why was he so special? Why did he get the power to rewind time and no one else? She's got that right. In spite of my family's obscene wealth, they did try to raise me like a normal child. Learning how to be responsible with money would build character, they said. Currently, they provide me with a monthly allowance of just 3,000 yen. In return, they currently leave me to my own devices when it comes to my day-to-day life. But I'm just delaying the inevitable. As the eldest son of the Sawatari family, I will eventually lose the right to choose my own way. As the third-generation successor, I'm expected to be a model employee who will one day speak for the entire company. I'd never wanted to change my own destiny, though. I didn't have any other dreams or aspirations, and I'd always known that my future was set in stone anyway. However, I just have a brush with death. Prior to that experience, I had not truly understood what it meant to be alive.
さて、新しい主人よ。
Oh.
お主は我が輩に
What?
何を望む？
You live in the watch?
何をなす？
Like some kind of sexy Pokemon? Okay. As if she read my mind, Crow gave me a serious expression while asking a very serious question. I had clenched my fist without realizing. I'm not obsessed with money like my grandfather was.
Oh, いい心がけじゃな。
I will use this power to make my daily life more fun, and more important of all, I can finally get a girlfriend and graduate from my status as a virgin. I mean, I'm really a Leo, but I've always wanted to be a Virgo.
たわけ。超俗物。
I mean, you're right, I have the power to change time in 5 minutes. That may not seem like a lot, but you can do some pretty amazing things in 5 minutes. You could change the world. That was my first encounter with Crow, and with the power of the Chronos' clock, I can do whatever I want.